Jen here with Samson and little girl. They had their peanut butter already. So this isn't going to be too long. I hope everybody's having a good morning. If you got your coffee or your juice or your power drink, whatever you got, I hope you have a few minutes, or you can listen on your commute, or you can listen as you go about your morning and get your tasks done. I'm going to touch on something briefly. It's not going to be long at all, I promise you. That is related to the title, but is also related to my personal testimony. Now, if you've not heard my personal testimony, I talk about it every video a little bit just to give background. I'm not going to do that this time because we're building here and there's not a lot of time, I don't think. So I'm just going to kind of get right into everything. I hope that's okay. I'm going to turn the comments on so you can see me as I'm doing that in real time. It always clicks like that when I turn the comments on. Why, I do not know, but it just does. But there, it looks like they are on. So if anyone does pop in, you should be able to chat. I really like when comments are left. I love interacting with people because it's such a small channel. I am almost always able to reply to each and every comment that is made. So please, I encourage you to comment. It's making me feel as if there's something really wrong with the channel. I know that I do have a lot of frenemies who watch the channel. They don't have to tell me. I just know it's pretty obvious in people's behavior and actions and the things that they say. So you really don't have to try and psyop me. It's pretty easy to be done. But we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Discernment and opening your eyes to things that are in headlines and going on around us. That's the problem. If it was only in headlines, I would not think anything of what's happening right now. It's almost as if our television screens and news media is and has always been controlled by AI, and at certain times, certain things will happen to instill a sense of fear in a generation to kind of keep us in line, or maybe to keep us from going off the rails. I'm not really sure exactly what the end goal is, but that's what it seems like. That's what it feels like, right? Doesn't mean that's what's happening. It's just from my perspective, that's what it feels like. And I do try to be very careful with my words now. If I say anything definitive, it's something that I know from experience and from testing things. I don't just believe things I see. I test them. I test the spirit of things, and I test the lucidity of things. Is it actually something I'm seeing that's able to interact? Am I seeing something in spirit, or am I hallucinating and just seeing things? And I was thinking about that yesterday, and here's a quick, I like to do these mini thought experiments to kind of get your perspective altered a little bit for the video that I'm going to show you. So I was thinking the other day, why is it when someone, and I was thinking of this in a variety of scenarios and situations, but why is it when someone says that they see something, that immediately everyone looks to that person to see what is wrong with them? It's never, wow, we cannot see this, we are blind, right? It's never everyone else that is blind. It is never even the other person that is with that person that is blind. It is, there's something wrong with you because you're seeing something that is not there. Do you know how hard it would be for you to see something that wasn't actually there, though? Do we manifest our reality? Certain parts of it, I believe. It doesn't have anything to do with people's free will. But it has something to do with like your daily life, like getting to work safe and, just praying over your day and asking for blessings and starting your day off on a good note and speaking things like, I'm strong, I'm capable, I can do this presentation, or I can do this surgery I have to get through, or I can do this run, right? I can reach this goal because I am capable. So do we manifest things? To a certain extent, we do. But it has nothing to do with other beings and their free will and the will of God, which wins out above everyone else's. So, there's that to consider. But why is it when someone says they see something or they're experiencing something, like if I went to a priest that actually wanted to sit down and listen to me for a while, they would not look at my family situation. Well, likely in today's era, they would not look at my family situation. They would not come home with me and monitor things for a few days. They would not put a camera in so they could watch, and, with things basically unchanged. They wouldn't do any of that. The first effort would be to look at me, the one bringing them the story, to see what is wrong with me or what's going on with me and my psyche. This takes the attention completely off of what was needing to be brought into the light, right? This is a tactic of the enemy. Now, they're being very sneaky today, and I'm trying my best to continue to point things out to you, but it's getting harder and harder. The only thing that you're going to be able to rely upon very soon here is your own spiritual discernment. You're not going to be able to rely on videos from other people, and so that's another reason why I do this. Great light. Good morning. More what? In love of living Father. I'm glad you are in love today, Great Light. It's nice to see you. Great light to you as well. And many blessings upon you this day and every day hereafter. I'm sorry, I lose my track when I talk, but it's okay because I love when you guys comment, and it's so nice to hear other people's perspectives and ideas. That doesn't mean you have to change truth or anything like that. We really got to look at balance here in the words that people use, and not allow like disagreements to be conflated by others or those around us or institutions, because everything's about division. We were supposed to go forward and multiply, not to divide. But that's, again, another video. So let's talk real quick about, and again, what I was just talking about was kind of a mini thought experiment. Why is it that everyone else looks to the person bringing the story instead of examining the actual events and the story, right, first, before going to her and saying, well, let's look at your credibility, let's look at your character, let's look at everything you've ever done in your life so we know if we can believe this one thing you're saying. By the time you're done doing that, whatever event had befallen this family, this person, this individual is going to dissipate, disappear. There will be less traces of it left. Things will have changed, that type of thing. When someone brings us information that might go against what we believe, or brings us information that we can't readily see with our own eyes, right? Somebody might tell you there's a tornado coming and you don't see any effect of this yet, right? You can't see the wind when it's on its way. Well, you kind of can. You can't see the wind itself, but you can see the effects of it. Remember that, okay? We need to start taking certain things seriously, and just because we have no personal experience with them does not mean that they are incorrect or invaluable or they hold no merit. Stop digging into the person who's bringing you the story, because that's exactly what they want you to do. Much like with me, when all this began, they knew that they had to ruin my credibility so that less people would listen to me, because I had a pretty decent following on Facebook and YouTube at that time with my original channel. They had to ruin my credibility so that when I brought these things to you, people would look at me and my character and the events in my life instead of what I'm telling you. They know that I tell the truth. They know that even when I make a mistake, I talk about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I did this thing. I shouldn't have done this. The guilt is weighing on me. They don't want you to confess. Like that was another reason. Like my circle, my loved ones, which was very loose at the time anyway, and always has been, just because, when you are a worker, when you're a workaholic, or you have to work to provide for people, you don't have time for like deep relationships, especially as a female mother whose husband discourages any type of friendships that you have. And people, again, they will blame me instead of looking at the situation. They will say, well, what did you do wrong? What did you do to make the situation like this? You created your own reality, blah, 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 blah. Those are all very atheistic, satanic points of view, because it takes the responsibility and accountability away from the person who's actually doing the wrong, because they're saying, well, this other person is allowing it, so it's okay. No, no, it's not okay. What if they're allowing it because they're weaker than you? What if they're allowing it because circumstance dictates that there's nothing else they can do, because you have some type of power over them, or you have a position over that you hold over them? That's abusive relationships work that way. The person with the more power, the more money, the more muscles, whatever it is, they hold that, and they know they have power in that relationship. It's like if a boss wants to have an affair with a secretary, or if a psychiatrist wants to have sexual interaction with a patient, that is a high conflict of interest, and you're not supposed to do those things because of what occurs, right? Because it's an unfair exchange of power. There's a very serious imbalance there, and even if that person doesn't want to be with you, they are almost coerced and forced into it because you give them no other choice, because you threaten to take away their their life, right? In some way, shape, or form. So anyway, that was just a little thought experiment to kind of get your head on a different way. I want you to hear this, and then I want you to look at something really wild. This got weird, like everything does, but I'm just going to push through and keep trucking and tell you about what happened. So, yesterday, and I'm going to show you proof for this. This happened yesterday. Now, my spouse, the one who is allegedly my spouse, but who does not behave like my original spouse, and again, this is all in the featured videos, my testimony videos, that kind of stuff can be seen there. I don't want to go too far back. But it's enough to know that the spouse that I have very high suspicions of, at first I thought my real spouse was raptured away. Then I came to see that I didn't really know my spouse because I worked all the time. And still I see now that daily habits of this person have changed, which usually take years in a person to change. They don't change overnight. Their eating habits and their dressing habits and their hygiene habits and their mannerisms with their hands and how they hold things, how they drive, how they do things, how they kiss. These things don't change, but they did for me overnight. So the spouse has this job. And again, I don't give out names. I don't throw people under the bus. I realize this is a very spiritual warfare, or spiritual war. That is the one that really matters here. These other quote unquote wars that we see, these are distractions for us. They're to keep us in a state of fear so that we can't see what's coming from the other side or the other angle. That's all media really is, and it's a way that they pass messages to and from each other. That's why we look at it. Now, again, there are decent people. God will raise certain people up in certain positions, and some of those people are in media, and I've actually been digging into that, but again, that's another video. So this happened yesterday. This is the Times of Israel. So my spouse, who I don't think is actually my spouse, who they either want me to think traded places, well, not traded places, the spirit of my spouse, the one I married, seems to be residing within my youngest son, because he does everything his father did. And I don't mean over time. I don't mean picked up habits. I don't mean like that. I mean his favorite dishes, that's what he eats now, and they're completely different what they eat. The ring that he bought this woman he is with, who looks like a dead ringer for my sister-in-law, but 20, 30 years younger. The ring he bought her was what I had wanted. It's chocolate diamond. It is what, I never asked for diamonds and things like that, but if I had gotten one, that's the kind I wanted. She got tattoos that I had wanted, dyed her hair like me. I talked about that. So anyway, things are weird, right? So this spouse in this butterfly effect, he has this job where they have to clean this area that they refer to as the pit. And he has mentioned it several times over the last week. The pit, the pit, the pit. And then I hear this, and we know that the pit is mentioned, the abyss, the pit is mentioned in the book of Revelation. That is where the demons will come out from and torment us as if they are scorpions. And they will be allowed to sting us for a period of 5 months, allegedly, according to the book of Revelation. So the pit, right? It's a biblical term. It's in my husband and son's life. And then now suddenly it is in the news again. This is what I'm talking about when I say the butterfly effect, how things ripple out. This is why I started witnessing. I asked God what I should do in this time, because I just didn't know where to go with my life. And give me a word, I said, God, and God gave me one word, and that word was witness. Didn't know what it meant. All I knew is that I had to observe and report on the things that I observed. So the pit came into my personal life within the past week pretty prevalently. It was repeated over and over again. Now we're seeing it in the media. Are you seeing it in your media? Is this just my phone messing with me? Is there real, are there ghosts in the machine? Demons in our phones? I don't know. But this happened yesterday. The security cabinet set to meet in the pit at 9 p.m. Why would you call it that, knowing biblical terminology and whatnot? You're supposed to be a godly nation. Why would you call it the pit? The security cabinet is set to meet, that was last night, tonight in Tel Aviv at 9 in the underground command room of the Kira military headquarters. Why do they tell people where their headquarters are? I wouldn't tell people. Like you can't tell them every move you're going to make. Like, that's national security too. So some of these things that we see, we're seeing them for a reason. It's not because they're true. It's not because it's a true story. It's because maybe a message is being passed along, or it's a subliminal thing to get us in the frame of mind of the pit, or it's them telling us and showing us, hey, this is what's happening. This is about to open. We warned you. It was coming. Anything that happens, you're allowing it. If it is this time, pray, just like everything else. Before you start your day, pray good blessings upon you and your family. Speak good words above their names and above your own, and ask for protection from the one true God. All right? So this happened, and there is a very into a world war. And allegedly, there's a very high chance that that will also be on our mainlands. The phones, TV, radio, etc. are baby dolls. I'm not sure what that means. Not sure what that means at all. Okay, so let's continue. And I want to show you. It's a little slow. I'm sorry. It's 4G. It's not 5G, which I'm good with. It doesn't bother me. And you see that I save stuff from videos way back, just so I have it up if anyone tries to say this, that, or the other, or if something changes. I try to keep the original articles and links and screenshots of them. So I want to show you something that caught my attention. We talked about 2 suns about a week ago. Well, now the Earth is going to have 2 moons. You don't say 2 moons. Yes, 2 moons. So let's look at Google real quick just to see what their AI generator says. No, I do not talk to the AI. No, I don't talk to Alexa. I don't see that I ever will willingly, or at least knowingly, do those things. Not condemning you if you do. It's just not something, again, just like driving, something I'm not going to participate in. So AI overview says Earth has a small asteroid that orbits the sun and is sometimes called a quasi-moon, but Earth doesn't currently have 2 moons. So in 2023, it was talking about FW13. In 2016, it goes on again to talk about it's larger. Okay. This Camo Olewa. But that's really pretty if you say it right. I'm sorry. Discovered in 2016, so they're talking about another one. Now it says Earth may once have had 2 moons, but one may have been destroyed in a collision. The collision may have left the current moon with a lumpier side. If the Earth had 2 moons, blase blase. The devices are the false sense of robots. Sorta. I mean, I get it. Yeah, we carry them everywhere like a baby doll. Kind of. Like a security blanket almost. Earth has a second moon of sorts and could have many others, according to 3 astronomers who did calculations to describe orbital motions at gravitational balance points in space that temporarily pull asteroids into bizarre orbits near our planet. Now, are asteroids real if there is a firmament? I'm not certain about the answer to that, and I don't know how to answer it really, because the sun and the moon are luminaries. I believe there are mirrors being utilized in the sky by the Most High, like very big mirrors, by whoever created this realm. Because if you look at the moon, you see that the shadows of the moon are pretty much the same shape of the lands on the Earth, if you look at a map. And it's just a circle almost, because it's like a cutout, right? In my opinion. So if the firmament's going around and the stars are like cut out up there, they're hung up there in their permanent positions. Some of them give their first state away. Is asteroids an actual thing? And if the Earth is flat, what does that say for other planets out there? Are they flat? I don't per se believe in other planets. I think everything out there is a star. planet is a suspiciously misleading term as well. And we'll get into that a little bit. But I want to show you something. So are asteroids real? I think they can be, yes and no, even though there is a firmament. We are told that God will use fire after the flood, that it would be fire. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that what you have on the inside is reflected on the outside. Like I do for your person, for your yourself and your life, but I don't believe that like there's a moon inside my brain and mind, and so there's one out here that I see. I don't believe that's how it works. But if you believe that, I mean, that's your prerogative. You're allowed to believe that. But there are plenty of things that go against that, right? There are so many things. The earth was here before I was here. Obviously, it's not a manifestation of something in my mind. Um, right? So we have to really use logic a little bit first before going to supernatural and spirit, because those things we cannot see and they are harder to investigate, and we need to eliminate the logical first glance possibilities. So I do not believe everything that we have on the inside is manifested outwardly. I would never harm a children in a intentional and sensual manner. And so what I see in the news and stuff about that topic, or if I see other people talking about that, that is not me manifesting something from within myself on the outside. And that's the deception there. They want you to think that. They want you to think, well, you created all this because that's what you had within you. That is not true. That can be true to you. It is not true to me. Okay? There are plenty of things that prove we don't just manifest what's inside of us. Plenty of things. I am not aligned in any way, shape, or form with child harmers. That is not within me. That's not something I'm manifesting outwardly. That's something you all can never explain. I don't manifest rape. I don't do that. It's not something I created in my mind and suddenly it manifested on the earth. That's not true. And I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like mad at you and I don't hate you or anything like that. But when someone speaks an obvious, very disprovable claim, we need to reject that and rebuke it immediately, like I just did. We need to do that. We need to be strong enough to say, you're having a delusion. That's not true. Okay? I don't know anything about, for example, neurology. I'm not manifesting and fabricating other people's brains and neurological symptoms or issues or surgeries. I know nothing about cosmology. That's not inside me. It's not something I'm manifesting. I'm not, as far as I know, manifesting Bigfoot. Like, that's not something that I made up or created. We got to get a grip here. That's not true. I don't manifest the wars. Do you manifest the wars? Is that what you have inside you? So you're manifesting wars right now that are in the media? Are we manifesting the media? I can't do this anymore with people. I'm not gonna go fall in with your delusions, man. I'm not. It's not happening. That's not true. We don't just manifest what's inside of us. Okay? Like it's not true. It's very disprovable. I'm the only one that can see you. What, on my screen? Well, then I'll just throw the screens away and quit using them if you're not a real individual souled being that is outside of the screen. The screen is a tool. Don't let it be your world. And if it is your world, well, I'm sorry for that. And it's very possible that our screens, that television, in effect, is us watching other people's lives in some other area. Like, I'm seeing that is a very high possibility because, again, elites don't entertain themselves the way regular people do. They have so much money that regular things, regular behaviors, even regular sins are boring to them, so they go to these next levels with things. Reality TV, the whole thing was to show us something. It wasn't even about the games. It was to show us what they're doing. But I didn't manifest all this out of my brain. I didn't create child harmers. People told me about that, other people outside of myself. You're not here with me at home. It's your device displaying messages. Yeah, no kidding. So that's what I'm telling you. It is a medium for us to communicate and talk to one another. It is a medium for us to learn. Is it sentient on the inside? I don't know. But I'm not falling in with that, like, we manifest things. I'm just not doing that. Sorry, I'm not. So to get back to the pit, Israel was discussing this pit thing yesterday. I think that's just a lunacy. I don't agree with you. I agree with some of the things you say. I think you're very kind usually, but I simply disagree with you. You don't have to keep commenting. I'm not going to agree with this point of view. I have grown past that perception and perspective of allowing that to even be a possibility. There are too many things here that I did not create. You're talking to yourself right now. Well, then leave the video and go talk to yourself. You see what I'm saying? It's ridiculousness. I did not manifest all of these things that are outside of me, because most of them I would not even have thought of. Most of them mankind doesn't think of. And this is what, are you a fallen one? Are you a Neph? Are you a Nephi? Is that why you're trying to remove all responsibility and accountability and trying to say that I am manifesting all of these things myself? Rape, war, murder. So there is someone there. I'm a real person and you're talking to me. And if you're actually in your home, then our devices are just a tool for us to speak with one another. I'm not going to turn the comments off, but I'm not replying anymore. So what about this 2 moons thing? Where did that come from? Well, I want to show you something, and then I'm going to show you a link. I'm going to show you a link about what's happening right now and what this quasi-second moon is. And then I'm going to show you a link from that same website from 2011, okay? Again, I did not create things like rape and child harming. If I see an article about that or somebody mentions it to me, it's not something that I manifested from a thought. Stop it. Are you going to tell all these women out there and all these children who are abused, are you going to tell all of us that we manifested it, that it's our fault because it's something we thought of? Stop it. You're behaving like the fallen ones. You're under their mesmerism. Knock it off, man. Knock it off. The ones who do those things should be accountable. We should not make false accusations either, but people who do those things or even speak about them need to be held accountable. Dude, I'm not playing this game with you no more. You're speaking like the serpent in the garden. Earth to have 2 new mini moon for 2 months. So what is that? 2, 22. All right, I'm done with you. The earth doesn't exist, he said. I'm done. I'm just done. Because also that's a narcissistic point of view, to think it's just you and you're creating all this and you manifested all of it and nobody else has free will. That is narcissistic, and I'm not going to go there. I'm not, because then that makes me the center of things and not God and his love for us as his family. The biblical story, the humanity story, is a love story. Do tragic things happen? Of course, because if we did not have moments of tragedy, we would not appreciate the comedy when it occurs. If we did not suffer, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but if we didn't suffer first, we would not then know what true joy is. If we did not have times in seasons of discontent, we would not then know what true rest is. This is all to prepare us for eternity in Eden, but we have to be refined enough to be spiritually mature enough to be able to walk there, because Adam walked there with God. Every evening, God came down from his throne and walked with Adam. So we have to be clean enough to be able to do that. I'm not going to listen to this stuff about the entire world as an illusion. Some Gnosticism I believe is actually, they have some truth. All right. But I'm not going to fall into this atheistic, narcissistic way of thinking. And it's nihilistic, it's materialistic, all theistics, like it is. I did not create this world. You are not creating this world. Okay? Just stop it, man. It sounds like lunacy. That's what sounds like lunacy to me. God created this world. And yes, to a point, everything is an illusion but love and truth. True things are the only things that will stand in eternity. So we, in turn, our temple, our vessel, has to be true. We have to clear it out of any disagreements, discontents, and disambiguities. Is that the word I'm looking for? But to keep, it's insulting to keep telling people you're creating this. You're not just telling me that. It's everywhere. I hear it from people that I encounter. So it's not just me. It's not just this place. You're telling everyone that. You want everyone to believe they are God. And then when they say it, something really bad happens. I'm not going to say that word. I'm never going to say that phrase. Okay? It's not going to come out of my mouth willingly. So just stop it. It is insulting to tell people that they are manifesting their own inner world outwardly. I would not manifest war. I hate war. I would not manifest child abuse. I hate child abuse. I would not manifest poverty. Stop it, man. Just stop it. The way we create the reality is through the dark wolf that's inside, right? And so then we physically go out and we try to do things, but they don't have God's leading. They don't have God's will under them or over them, so they become corrupted, right? Yes, we can create this environment. We can add to it. There are things we can make and build. But I'm not going to listen to this, man, that the world's some figment of my imagination. Just stop it. You know how insulting that is to all the other beings here? Do you know how much that hurts a heart when you say things like that? It's ignorance. So we're going to have two moons, a mini moon. It's a pair of asteroid dynamic researchers from Universidad. I don't even know. Okay. A University of Madrid. All right. They found a small asteroid that will make one orbit around the Earth starting this month. And again, we're seeing 2, right? 2 moons for 2 months. That's 22. There's that number again. 2 3 times is 6. 2 2 2. 2 3 times. You're seeing 2 3 times. That means 6. All right. I know people will be tempted to say 2 2 2 is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. Listen, we're going for the basics first, the superficial, even with symbology, and then we zone in on, okay, why are these, why is the pit? Why did that word manifest in my personal life and then out in the public? Now, you're saying I'm creating this. I didn't create it. I didn't say it. That was something that came from my spouse. So he's creating it then, not me. I am not God, man. I would not do most of these things that are happening. I wouldn't know how to do them. Yeah, so I'm tired of people. You just want to push accountability on people who aren't accountable for things. Jesus Christ was enough of a scapegoat, wasn't he? For everybody? Wasn't that enough? Why are you still trying to do this? Why are you still trying to scapegoat people? And that's a fallen angel tactic. That's a Zazael or Semyaza. And I don't go for that. I mean them, no disrespect. They are still beings that God made, right? But I'm not going to play that game. I'm not I don't know how many times I have to tell you beings, I am not participating. I'm not playing. I'm not choosing the lesser of two evils. I'm not going to do that. I will sit right here and I will not move until the Most High God that created everything tells me himself what truth is or what I should do with the rest of my life. So just stop it, man. You know how insulting that is to tell somebody that they created what we're seeing now? Molestation and all this stuff that's becoming prevalent, trafficking and everything. I didn't even know what trafficking was. Like, I had no idea what it meant until I did some research. I had no concept of what that even meant. You got to stop telling people that. It's ignorance. It's really foul. A pair of asteroid dynamics researchers, so they found this small asteroid, and it'll make one orbit around the Earth starting this month. And this is just recent. It should be just 3 days ago. In their paper published in the journal, blah, 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 I'm not going to mispronounce all that, describe how the Earth tends to capture asteroids on a regular basis. Now, remember that. Our gravity, allegedly, okay, now we're going by what they're telling us. We know we can't trust mainstream, but we do know that not everybody is an Agent Smith, right? Not everybody can be. So we're going to go with what they're telling us, but we're going to look at the hidden symbology in what they're telling us, because this gets wild. And I only looked at it personally for a second. I did rant a little bit there for a minute. I'm sorry, it had to be done. We are not manifesting all this. Like that's not what's happening. And to try and put it on regular everyday people that we're creating this, we need to all be accountable for our part in things in all of this at this time. Everyone needs to be accountable, not just Eve, Adam too, not just humanity, the fallen ones too, who showed us all this garbage. We wouldn't have known any of these things if you all hadn't come in and shown us and taught us. We wouldn't have known any of these it's all wickedness too. It's all things we shouldn't be doing. Right down to the child harmer thing. I never heard about child harming unless it was somebody that I now know to have been on the other side. And they all seem to be hybrid of some manner, because they all had them very shiny blue eyes. And I'm not saying that everyone with blue eyes is demonic. I'm saying, going down the checklist, they met all of the criteria for being a worker of iniquity. Okay? I'm not going to keep hearing that this is something mankind is responsible for when you know darn well it's not. And I know in my heart that that's true. Stop blaming us. You all need to be accountable. Don't you get it? It's man that will judge you. You're the ones who are going to be judged by mankind. And any human that's in league with these things, you're going against your own. And that's bad luck. I'm not quite sure how God judges that, but it's a very bad look. Prior research has shown that many asteroids fall into parallel or full elliptical paths around the Earth before eventually being flung away. So we can pull things into our atmosphere with gravity, allegedly, and they will stay there and we can see them. But again, remember that NASA they are deceivers there. And they are operating with the fallen ones, because the fallen ones are here. They share this space with us. This just needs to be known at this point. Like, we just need to accept that truth. Not everyone here is the same. And that does not mean that they need to be ended, or their lives need to be ended, or anybody needs to be ended. Like, I'm so tired of that too. We should be spiritually evolved enough not to want to club everybody over the head and either drag them back to our cave or eat them. What? Where am I? Seriously, though, where am I? That everybody wants to shove their ideologies down other people's throats and make us accept them. To make me accept that I created this world. No, I did not, man. Stop it. Like, I can't anymore, you guys. I just can't. It's boggling to me. Boggling. Quit blaming other people. Take accountability for what you do in life and the choices that you make. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking my medicine. I'm eating crow. And I started over. I'm not doing the corporate ladder anymore. I know there's no time for that in my life. But I also know that I tried that. It didn't work. And I'm in a more humble position at this point. Where I need to be. Where I need to be. Just stop blaming other people. In this time, every individual souled being needs to be responsible for themselves, and at the same time to stop pushing other beings into sinful, wicked behavior. Sometimes just by talking about it. Sometimes by doing it around them if you know they have a problem with that. Sometimes by peer pressure and pressuring other people to feel or say or do things that they know they don't feel, they don't want to say, and they definitely don't want to do. We are all responsible here for ourselves and to an extent for each other, for how our actions affect other people. If we do not accept these things in this time, you will perish. We are very, very close now. And if you can't feel that, the retrocausality, whatever happens, is so big, impactful to mankind as a species that we are feeling the effects and the vibrations of it already before it's even occurred, like a bell ringing. And soon, very soon, that will echo back like a boomerang or a slingshot, right? And the reverberations will be felt physically. They will manifest in the physical realm. Whatever happens is going to happen very soon. And we've been feeling the reverberations and the vibrations of this for several years now. That's why some people have just lost their minds. Literally. I know because it almost happened to me. I was suddenly able to see through the veil after the first eclipse. And everybody thinks I'm crazy because I'm seeing demons in people. Not all the time. Just peeking out every now and again. When they would do something that would excite the demon within, their faces start to change just a little bit. You don't have to believe me, man, but it's everywhere now. So we don't need to read about their paper, but what are they talking here? Like, how long is this going to last? And how big is it? And what did they name it? Because we know that the names that places like NASA and mainstream media use, we know that those are key. Just like we found out that MAGA referred to a witch, a high elitist witch or whatever, we found out that weird refers to very specific sorcery. Okay? So these words that they're using are being used very intentionally. And weird was in my life too. Somebody that I have what am I looking for here? Indirect connection to was for some reason indirectly connected to my spouse. And of course this person had red hair. But that was also a connection there, was that word, weird, weirdo. I had seen it. That's why at first I thought maybe I fell into a coma, because all these things that happen in my personal life are suddenly echoing out into the real world. So I see where you're saying like, oh, it's you manifesting all this. I see where you're saying that's a possibility, but that's a very dangerous tactic to take. And I'm getting the ringing in the right ear now, which means something I hit on is, yes, that's true. So if you do this, right, if you start casting that type of net out on people, especially women, if you start saying that we are the ones creating this, you already know what's going to happen because of that. What happened in Salem 200 years ago? Huh? Because they thought women were creating things and making bad luck and bad weather and ruining crops. It wasn't because they were new to the land and just didn't know jack. Nah, they had to blame the women. They had to burn them some older women, right? So them younger ones could service them for a while. And on it goes, ladies. That's a dangerous line of rhetoric, because people will, lower level spiritual beings, I don't want to call people stupid, but people who are spiritually immature will believe what you're saying. They will call people like me a witch, and then we will see persecution again like this age has never seen. And I already know that's coming. Like, I already know that the worst persecution is going to come from the church. And I've said this ad nauseum for years now, because it's obvious. It's obvious that's where it's going to come from. The church itself. You're going to call people like me, who are actually talking with God, we believe, crazy. And you're going to say that we're creating these events. But guess what? Even if you end me, just like you did all those other alleged witches, all those other women, even if you end me, these things are still going to take place. And I know for a fact that they will get worse if and or when I am ended. I can't tell you how I know that. I just know it goes along with me being a witness. So I'll continue. So how big is it? It's only 10 meters across. Remember that, because I'm going to show you an article from 2011 that goes against some of what they're saying here, and it's from the exact same site. Okay? Their work shows that it will circle the Earth one time, taking 53 days, starting at the end of this month, September, and then leaving near the middle of November. Odd timing, that is. We got a lot going on. In October, there's supposed to be an eclipse, all right? Another one. We aren't supposed to see it here in the States, but that's interesting that this is taking place at the same time. Now, there's another possibility for this as well. Could it be a satellite from another nation, and they don't want us panicking over it? We had that satellite going across for several years that Dabu talked about from Korea. It was a Korean satellite. I don't know if it still does that route. Allegedly. So again, are they giving us reasons to see things in the sky? Is that really what we're seeing? I saw one of the Air Force's new bombers today, and it was silver and svelte, and it looked like one of the spaceships of old. So again, our aliens are right here on terra firma, as they have always been. Mankind is in league with the fallen ones. They want you to believe that you're responsible for all of this. They want you to believe it's all your fault. They want you to believe they don't exist. Anything to take the attention off of what's really happening. So it's 10 meters across. It will take 53 days. At that time, the Earth will also experience an eclipse. We also have a lot of war rhetoric going on now. Oh, and my son took pictures the other day, again in Northeast Ohio, where there were lights in the sky above, what business was it? Was it the mall? I forget which business, but it was the mall plaza. And it was a field. It was our minor league field. And so these lights, these lit up drones, Starlink, whatever they were in the sky making pictures related to Ohio. One was the outline of the shape of Ohio. And then there were a few more to look like different things lighting up the sky. So again, these technologies have been around for millennia. They are revealing them again. And again, they like their scripts. They are stuck here forever. So they have found ways to entertain themselves. And one of their favorite ways is by gaslighting humanity and blaming us for pretty much everything. They want us to feel that guilt. I don't know if I should even say this next part, but it's very possible that they're playing with their food. Beetlejuice. The comet, right? Beetlejuice. They called it a cannibal comet, right? Why are they using that word, cannibal? And at the same time, the Beetlejuice comet was allegedly in our skies. The Beetlejuice resurrection of the movie came out. So then we're seeing again another ripple effect. Is it happening intentionally? Is the media machine, the AI machine, is it pushing out things from books and stories because it needs reset? It ran out of material to run. Because Netanyahu ain't aged in a long time, y'all. Like you don't realize how, like, he's been around for a minute now? He shouldn't still look like he looks. Maybe he's got really good filters or poor cameras. I don't know. So let's continue. Sorry, I had to get a swig of my drink there. So they found that it likely came from the Arjuna asteroid belt. So let's talk about this for a minute. If there is no such thing as asteroids, if they're covering up for something else that's in the sky, then that means that these names are fabricated as well, or they're coming from those who are in the skies and know the names of all the principalities, which would be, again, the fallen angels. But look at this. Arjuna. Where does that word come from, guys? And of course, yes, I'm going to show you, because it gets very flipping weird. So let's look it up. Hey, now, what are you doing? No. Let's try that again. So let's see what the etymology of this word is. Oh, well, Albie, what is it? Arjuna was an ancient prince. Of what? What does that say? What is he a prince of? The Kuru kingdom. Raise your hand if you know what Kuru means. I'll tell you. Kuru is allegedly the name they give to the disease that people get the symptoms are shaking, confusion, anger, rage, obviously abrupt mood change. But the shaking and the tremors become very noticeable. In fact, they highly resemble what I've seen as a nurse aide as Parkinson's and MS. I am not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice. The disclaimers are in the description box. So everything I'm saying is perfectly legal because I am speculating here through my own personal experience, which we are allowed to do. You cannot take our complete voices away because I'm using Google, and that is also your own search engine. Okay? So here we go again. So they name this asteroid belt that this asteroid came from Arjuna. And Arjuna is related to what? We're just going to look at this connection briefly. It's related to Kuru. What is Kuru? Kuru is a disease that they give, or they named, sorry. It's a disease developed from people who eat other human beings, from people who are cannibalistic in nature. It's funny, the last 2 times I partook of meat that I bought in the grocery store, it made me shake. It made my hands tremor. That was one of my symptoms when I stopped working, was that my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I had tremors in my hands, and I would drop things and just strange, tremors. And I took a lot of different medicines for that, trying to get rid of it. And a little voice inside me said, stop eating the meat. Don't be carnivorous. Coronavirus carnivorous. That's a play on, what is that thing when you can make a word from another word and the letters in the word? I would love to turn the comments back on, but I really don't want to listen to that person right now telling me about how I created this reality. Like, I don't want to hear that nonsense. Now, if we do create the quote-unquote reality that's in our device, yeah, I can maybe go along with that. If you're seeing different things than I'm seeing, that's the problem, is we have to share information, and nobody's sharing information with me on that. Are you seeing these things in your phone? Are these all deceptions? Are these all lies? What is the truth? Is everything that I see then, every single video from TikTok, all these compilations, all of it? You mean I manufactured all of it? I don't know if I buy that. So Kuru is a cannibalistic disease, okay? And Arjuna is the name of the asteroid belt where this second moon is going to come from. Now, we'll go back to this in a second, but I want to show you something. How big did it say it was across? Okay, so this is the same website, guys, and this is from right around winter solstice, December 28, 2011, where a year later, everybody thought the world would end. But anyway, what if the Earth had 2 moons? This is the same publication telling you the idea of an Earth with 2 moons has been a science fiction staple for decades. It's in Star Wars. More recently, real possibilities of an Earth with 2 moons have popped up. The properties of the moon's far side has many scientists thinking that another moon used to orbit the Earth before smashing into the moon and becoming part of its mass. Long pause there. Again, I believe that the moon is a mirror because it reflects the shading you see on it is the same shading of the Earth, of the land masses on the Earth, okay? So they're using, or it's a negative, what is it? A negative picture that they're using to like hologram it up there, but I don't believe that. I think it's a mirror. I think the moon has always been a mirror. I think that's what it is. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, disagree with me, nothing. That's what I think. And I think that's why it has those shades there. But the moon obviously doesn't spin. Why doesn't it spin? Why do we only see one side of it all the time? Please don't give me some long drawn out explanation. If people can't understand what's in their food, if they can't understand the basics of science and what they see in the sky, then there's something really wrong. I don't want you to get on a trip and tell me, well, you see, it rotates at such a speed and at the same time as the Earth that we never see the other side of it. Baloney. Baloney. Because it doesn't move. It's up there to be a light for us. I mean, it does. The sky, the whole firmament moves. And they're in a way attached to the firmament. Okay? Yeah, obviously some of them can choose to fall off or whatever. Falling stars, right? But again, that's also, that right there is parabolic as well. It might not be literal, saying that these stars fell. Yeah, these angels fell from heaven. Maybe the stars don't actually literally, it says a third of them shall fall from the sky. That matches the same number of fallen angels. Every person, every being seems to be associated with a star. But again, that's another video. So anyways, this is the same link several years earlier, about 10 years actually, and it's talking about what would happen if we had a second moon. What if the Earth actually had a second moon? How different would life be? So this says right here, the moon is 181 the mass of the Earth, while most moons are only 3/10,000ths the mass of their planet. The size of the moon is a major contributing factor to complex life on Earth. It is responsible for the high tides that stirred up the primordial soup of the early Earth. It's the reason our day is 24 hours long. It gives light for the variety of life forms that live and hunt during the night. It's not the reason it's 24 hours long. It's 24 hours long because man decided to pin those words and labels to it. You could say it's 10 minutes long and it would be 10 minutes because that's the value we gave it when we began this. Do you see what I'm saying? Just like money. It doesn't have any inherent value on its own. We gave it the value it has. You could burn it all up to stay warm and it would be worth more that way because it's not worth anything. We give it its value. Just like a necklace, right? Made of pearls might be more valuable to you because you like pearls than it is to me because I have no use for them. Do you see? That's why bartering and trading works better, because you can't trade something somebody actually doesn't want or need. Dollars, money like that is just a giant con, man. And the con men, the mafia men, all these types of men who wanted a shortcut to riches and wealth and fame and women and every pleasure that they could conceive of, they all moved into powerful positions. The church itself soaked some of them up. The government soaked a lot of them up. Okay? When the government got that big, they decided, whoa, there's too many people here, we better take charge. And the best criminal won. And that's really all that happened. And I hate to say it that way. I love our country. I love people. But we need to be able to look at our dark side and say, okay, let's be honest about this and change this. And at the same time, rebuke the ones who are telling us it's all our fault, because that's not true either. Truth matters, and it's important, and it's relevant, and it is eternal. And if you want to be eternal, you've got to be truth inside and out too. We've got to get cleaned up, man. That's what this time is for. So I just want to know, basically, tell me how big. For his two-moon Earth thought experiment, this guy Commons proposes that our Earth-Moon system formed as it did. He needs the same early conditions that allowed life to form before capturing a third body. Okay, so yada, yada, yada. Now here's what it says. This moon, which I will call Luna, sits halfway between the Earth and the moon. So he invented, in his mind, he said, well, let's create a third moon. And it's going to be in between the Earth and our current moon. And we'll call this one Luna, because Luna means moon also. Okay? I want to know how big it is. Why is it doing this? Oh, no. Are you frozen? Please don't. Okay, there you go. Sorry, guys. My tummy growled. I'm sorry. Why does that thing turn on? Okay, I just want to see how big his thought experiment allows for it to be. It's the reason Earth has 24 hours, yada, yada, yada. The second moon would change that. As well as a beautiful future in the sky. But life on a two-mooned or nights and their different orbital periods will mean the Earth would have fewer fully dark nights. This will lead to different kinds of nocturnal beings. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Having a second moon will create the necessity or the need or allow for more nocturnal beings that roam at night. Nighttime hunters would have an easier time. Stop it. Nighttime hunters would have an easier time seeing their prey, but the prey would develop better camouflage mechanisms. The need to survive could lead to more cunning and intelligent breeds of nocturnal animals. And of course, it says it would cause land tides and volcanic activity The pull from both bodies would cause land tides and volcanic activity on the new moon. It would develop akin to Jupiter's volcanic moon. Life on a two-mooned Earth would be different. Humans would have to adapt to the challenges of two moons. It would make shoreline living almost impossible. The difference between high and low tide would be measured in thousands of feet. Thousands. Proximity to the water is a necessity for sewage draining and transport of goods. But with higher tides and stronger erosion, humans would have to develop different ways of using the oceans for transfer and travel. The habitable area of Earth then would be much smaller. The measurement of time would also be different. Our months would be irrelevant. Instead, a system of full and partial months would be necessary to account for the movement of two moons. Eventually, the moon and Luna would collide like the moon is now. Both moons would be receding from Earth. Their eventual collision would send debris raining through the Earth's atmosphere and lead to another mass extinction. The end result would be one moon orbiting the Earth, and another era of life would be primed to start. But it would be the end of this era. How big did they allow for, though, in his little thought experiment? How big did he allow for this new moon to be? Let's go up and see if he gives us a specific size. So again, this is the same link, the same website from 2011, what it's saying if we had another moon. You need to know how big it is, though. Tell us how big it would need to be. Blase, blase. And this is by whom? Amy Shira title. But it's not telling you how big it would allow for it to be. For this two-moon Earth thought experiment, it needs the same early conditions. This moon sits halfway. But it's not going to tell us, he says after a few weeks, things would start to settle. Huh. Life would be different after the extinction. All right, so let's jump back to this other one from right now. Okay, that's 2011. Where's the one for today? Hold up. Did it get out of there? Did it go away because... Probably. Let's see how big it is. Now, he never told us for his thought experiment how small or big that moon would have to be. If Earth had two moons, it could have a number of effects, including tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanic activity. The gravity of the second moon would cause natural disasters, brighter nights, and unpredictable tides, which we know. Okay, so this one was written in 2021. It says for another 300 years at least. Huh. Earth move one side. We know that. Let's go to sci-fi real quick. We'll check this one because it's a different website. In the 60s, human and blah, blah, blah. We're going to skip all that because we just want to know how big this thing is right now. They're calling it FW13. God, I hate that number. 13, 13. I don't know what the FW stands for. Okay, so it's considerably smaller and farther away than our more famous moon. It's estimated to be only 50 feet, 15 meters in diameter, and remains 9 million miles away. Blase, blase, pretty close. Blase, blase. Okay, so they're saying that they saw it. Oh my gosh, look at this. While the object is still being studied and our understanding of it will likely cause or change with new and better data, current estimates suggest 2023 FW13 entered its current orbit alongside the Earth at least how many years ago? 2,000 years ago. So it was a witness to the execution and resurrection of Christ. Simulations based on preliminary orbital calculations predict it will remain in the neighborhood for at least another 1,700 years. Excuse me. Won't be sad to see it go. Okay. In 2016, astronomers discovered another quasi-moon known as, and there's, come on, I don't want to say how it looks, because it looks like something kind of wicked. So I'm not going to say it out loud, but if you say it and you say it fast, you might hear it. But it looks like it could be pretty. I don't want to mess it up. So it says it's a little larger than 2023 FW13, which needs a cooler name, STAT, between 40 and 100 meters. This one's bigger. And it gets within 5 million kilometers of us. Analysis of the object has revealed moon-like silicates, suggesting it may actually be a splintered fragment of the moon itself. Okay, so let's get out of there. They didn't really tell us much, did they? They didn't really tell us much. Okay, so we're going to go back here real quick. Now, they are saying that it came from the Arjuna asteroid belt. And when I look up the word Arjun, it says Arjuna was an ancient prince of Kuru, of the Kuru kingdom. Now, again, Kuru is the name we now give to people who are cannibalistic in nature and get this disease, this neurological disease that they get. And yes, I do believe all of these things can be fixed if you change what you're consuming. That is my opinion, speculation, based on personal experience and proof evidence. So, where is he located? He's located in India. I find that very interesting. Why? Because in India, to this day, still, they are very open about their cannibalistic practices. Not all of them, obviously, or there'd be none left. Small sects that are left of these ancient religions. There are people there. I have a channel, actually, that I'm sub to. He's always over in India, and they're very open about their cannibalistic behaviors. So real quick, just again, to research the etymology of this asteroid belt and this asteroid that they're calling a second moon that will be here for about a month, starting at the end of this month, lasting until mid-November. So this is Sanskrit, very old. Arjuna was an ancient prince of the Kuru kingdom located in the present-day India. He is one of the main protagonists of the Hindu epic Mahabharata. He was the third of 5 Pandava brothers from the lineage of the Kuru. Now, here's the thing. We started naming diseases and whatnot in the late 1800s as a regular thing, early 1900s. So this is ancient. We get the names of our diseases and things like that, or our holistics or our medications from plants, from old Latin terminology. So Kuru, we labeled the cannibalistic disease that way. Is it because so many people in India are cannibalistic? Is that why we pulled this word and brought it into another, what do I want to say, paradigm? So let's look a little bit at this. Located in the present-day India, he is one of the main protagonists. In the Mahabharata war, Arjuna was a key warrior from the Pandava side in the battle of Kurukshetra before the beginning of the war. His mentor, Krishna, now again, Krishna is his mentor, he's one of the gods, gave him of their religion, of Buddhism, gave him the scripture knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. I know I said that wrong. I've heard it before. I'm trying. To overcome his moral dilemmas. That's like their Bible. In the epic, Arjuna is the closest friend and companion of Krishna. Now, if we brought this, say, to an English culture, to American culture, we would say that he may have been an angel, much like Gabriel came to Mary, right? But so many people say, no, they worship demons. Are they demons? Are they worshiping fallen angels? Are they the literal angels communicating with them? We need to be very careful when labeling other people and saying things like, oh, they have demons, they're demonized. I've seen demonic behavior, okay? If these people are worshiping demons, they don't know it. And they're not going around causing mischief and havoc, at least not here in America or where I live. That would be other people. So, again, let's be very mindful of things like that, and let's be very as respectful as possible. I would never eat people. I think it's morally and spiritually wrong on every level. I would not willingly, knowingly do that and partake of it. Which is why I'm trying now desperately to just avoid things that I don't know what they are if they don't come off a tree. Now, so Krishna was his buddy, right? And Kuru, but why did this turn into a cannibalistic thing? So let's kind of just look at this briefly. Arjuna is depicted as a skilled archer from an early age. And again, you'll see constellations based on Greek gods. So again, you see this correlation between someone on terra firma, a being walking on Earth, who also has now an asteroid belt named after him, right? So, again, we see these correlations. During his second exile, Arjuna gained many celestial weapons. Apart from being a warrior, he possessed skills in music and dance. At the end of the epic, Pandavas, accompanied by Draupadi, retired to the Himalayas, where everyone in time passes away to arrive in heaven. Himalayas, they go to the mountains, and we are told, I was reading a psalm yesterday that was talking about God being in a mountain. And of course, there are notes in the bottom of the Bible saying that this is just metaphoric. But is it? God, or Moses went up to the top of the mountain to talk to God too. Is that what we got to do to be heard? We got to go to the top of the mountain? I need to get to a mountain then. If God can't hear my prayers, I'll do whatever I got to do. But isn't it interesting that across different cultures and their religions that you see these similarities? These people telling you that they worship demons, again, the division they're causing is intentional. I'm not saying we all have to be of the same religion. I'm not saying I'm down with that either. I'm saying walk a line of balance and be as discerning as possible. Etymology. Okay, so according to Monnier Williams, why does he have two first names that are the same? Man, this place confuses me these days. The word Arjuna means white, clear, or silver. Wow, that's what my name means. It means white wave or white spirit. But Arjuna is known by many other names, such as, okay, I'm not going to say that, one who conquered wealth and gold, one who has conquered sleep, or the one who has abundant hair. Conquered sleep or abundant hair, those are completely different. Vijaya, always victorious, invincible, and undefeatable. One who can shoot arrows using the right and left hand with equal activity. Ambidextrous. Shavtevehana. One with milky white horses mounted to his pure white chariot. That's weird. I was talking to God, and that's very similar to a word that he gave me. Okay, anyway. Bibhatsu, one who always fights wars in a fair, stylistic, and terrific manner. Okay. Diadem presented by the gods. Which is new, triumphant conqueror of the enemies. Okay, so let's keep going. The prince Arjuna with Nara, the deity Krishna with Narayana, reincarnation of sage Narayana. Arjuna was one of the 5 Pandava brothers of royal lineage, whose collective name derives from their father and heir of the lunar dynasty. And that's wild. And again, we have all these celestial terms. However, Pandu was under a curse whereby he would die if he had relations with a woman, and so his sons were born using a mantra given to Kunti by sage Durvasa during her maiden days. So what, he went outside and sung a mantra and he was given babies? No way. That's wild. All these things you find out. Okay, so we're going on here we just wanted to know why this star system, why they decided to name it. Now we're going to punch in something real quick. But only for a month, 2 months. Okay. Now remember, we read that link in 2011 and it told us what would happen, right? Okay, so this one is called 2024 PT5. So that's what I was looking for, was the name of the current one. That other article is very deceptive, like sneaky, like on the download deceptive. What are you doing? I don't want to. Earth is getting a temporary second moon. All about asteroid PT5 2024. PT5. Why PT5? Starting from September 29th, Earth's gravity will capture a small asteroid named 2024 PT5. What does PT stand for in other, like what would that be in gematria? I'm going to look that up, and if anything comes up of it, I will post a short upload on it. It was discovered in August, it says, using Atlas, has a diameter of, how many? Wait, go back. Has a diameter of approximately 33 feet. 33 feet, that's all, and it's going to be here for about 53 days. And yes, the Earth's gravitational pull will affect it. So Earth is going, or the moon is going to pull this thing into us. Unlike Earth's permanent, oh wait, go back. Go back. One more. Okay. Okay, so for 53 days, unlike Earth's permanent moon, PT5 won't complete a full orbit around the planet. Instead, it will follow a horseshoe-shaped path before eventually breaking free from Earth's magnetic pull. According to the research notes, Carlos and Rao, Earth has captured asteroids before, like in 26. Stop it. When a similar object orbited for a year in 2006. And we just read about that. The path of 2024 PT5 is similar to the asteroid, what? 2022 NXI. What? That looks like that old cult's name. NXI. I'm going to have to look up all the gematria of this, which performed a temporary flyby, blah, 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 in 81. Okay. I want to know more about this one. Natural object, not space debris. Its orbital properties closely resemble those of asteroids from Arjuna, which are known for their short term. No, I don't want to take your quiz. Earth occasionally captures asteroids, which we know. PT5 has had similar encounters in the past, such as 2006, 2007. They offer a unique opportunity for study and provide insight. Where's it going to be, I wonder, when that eclipse happens? You know, how's that going to, is it going to affect it? Is it going to matter? Okay, you guys, so again, we have mad, let's get rid of that tab. Sorry, guys. So I was just talking about cannibalism, and we were talking about two sons. And cannibalism seems to be at the bottom of all of this stuff. And again, for somebody to say that I'm creating my reality, and I don't eat meat anymore, so I shouldn't be seeing or hearing any of this then if I create my own reality. Please stop bringing that nonsense to my channel. We do not create reality. We help it along, of course, by our consent, by our actions and the things we do, what we build, what we create, what we destroy. Absolutely, we participate, but we're not it's not a reflection of everything we have inside. That's not how it works. It's not everything inside. Life, physical manifestations, they are very real things. It's not a complete illusion. And I don't want to fall into that Gnostic way of thinking. Okay, so we know the second moon is happening. Oh shoot, there was another word I wanted to look at for you guys. Oh, here's what I wanted to show you. So in October, when this is in the middle of when this is flying by, hello. Can I just open that, please? I just want to see the news. All right, we'll go back to that. Let's see what date the October eclipse is. October 2nd, 2024. The second solar eclipse of 2024 will be an annular, sometimes called a ring of fire, solar eclipse on Wednesday, October 2nd. The solar eclipse will be visible from parts of South America, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and Antarctica. There's a lunar eclipse on the 28th and a solar eclipse on the 14th. Let's see. All of North America, except for Northwest Alaska, will experience at least a partial. Gosh. Oh, my bad. That's why I was stuck. A partial solar eclipse. Most of South America, except for southern Chile and Argentina, also experience at least a partial solar eclipse. So will I see it here in Ohio? Ooh, maybe. So there's an annual solar eclipse on the 14th, which means annual of the year. I want to look at this real quick in this video. And I will be a little more organized. I apologize that this phone is so punchy, but some of these things I like to look up for the first time with you guys, just to show you that no, I'm not like looking for specific things and fabricating things. These are just things coming to the my awareness. And I think we should look in all paradigms. If you're going to search for information and you're going to search for truth in the media and on the internet, you need to leave your comfort zone of like Christian or like atheistic or idealistic or what have you, and dwell a little bit in each one so you don't get caught up in delusions that try to tell you things that are clearly untrue. Annual solar eclipse, October 2nd. So this should, when we are seeing this quasi, aka second moon, coming through PT5 or whatever the heck they call it, the solar will be an annual, sometimes called a ring of fire. As you can see on the map below, most of it will be visible over the ocean. Ain't that nice? Okay, so it's gonna do this thing here. Now, what you can do, I can link this for you guys. I don't want to do it now on this device because it is so punchy. If you download this, it will let you put in your location and it will give you a simulated eclipse of what you will see from your area. You can punch in any area and do that. I think that's a really cool feature that Earth Sky offers, and I really like it a lot. I use it when things like this are happening, and I also have an app on my daily phone. This obviously is not my daily phone because it would drive me to madness. It is ridiculous. But I want to look at one more thing before we end this. Okay, so this isn't normal. I can't say this enough. This is not normal. This is not the norm. This is not something we see every year. This is not something we see every day. This is not something we see often. In my part of the United States, we should not be seeing this and having forecasts, basically, for where the aurora borealis is going to be seen. So either A, the plane we're in, the realm we're in, is seriously glitching out, or, and it is the end of this age, beginning of a new age, or they're blaming it on the auroras and it's something else. Maybe they're hiding war. Are they hiding this war that's already, I believe, on American soil? I told you I read a book years ago about all these things that are happening. And of course, it's ridiculous. Yes, it was in a book. Somebody gave somebody ideas, and I guess they're going through with them, or at least they're using it in the media. I'm not there. I can't tell you if these things are actually happening. I don't know. But we have a lot of food plants going down, fires being set, arson suspected, a lot of trains being derailed. We don't even use trains here anymore, so I don't know what's up with that. Truckers, are how food and produce gets around nowadays, so I'm not really sure why they're saying all this is going on with trains, because we don't really transport with them much. Anyways, I'll continue. So we're seeing all these things that are taking place, and our bridges are going down. You'll notice I showed you that in Pittsburgh, and Ohio's about to experience the same thing, but in a city in Pittsburgh, there's a bridge that you go to, and a tunnel that'll lead you to Pittsburgh, but it also leads you to the other side of Pittsburgh if you're traveling from the west to the east. And if you shut that down, nobody can get out and go back east, and nobody can get through to go through Pittsburgh or either to their home in Pittsburgh. So you see, they're effectively cutting off routes that will take you in and out of a city at the same time. So they're essentially blockading a city, a grid of a city. But why? Are they hiding this takeover? If they are, it seems like they're trying to minimize human loss, which is great. They should not be fighting wars the old-fashioned way. There should be very little loss of life in war at this time. Anyways, is that what they're hiding? Is it war, or is it actually the Aurora Borealis? If it's the Aurora Borealis, man, we got bigger fish to fry than worrying about, some of these petty things that we worry about. But what's going on in your neck of the woods? It's been pretty beautiful here, though. I have been begging for rain for like 3 days now, and it still hasn't happened. It's my belief that the closer we get to the Antichrist time, the more powerful he will become, and the less certain things for children of God will work or function. I don't think it doesn't mean that God doesn't love us. It doesn't mean that we've been abandoned. It's just the time in which we are in, and we should be blessed that God chose us and believes that we are strong enough to endure in such as times as these. I love you. I do pray for you every day. Please pray for me. Videos will get a little more organized and a little more upbeat. I got a few things I need to cover. But, these are the times we are in, and I'm not going to sugarcoat things for people. And I don't think you want me to. If you're here at this channel and you found your way here, hopefully it was because you were seeking truth. And hopefully it's because truth is valuable to you. And hopefully it's because you love your fellow man and all the other soul beings here, and you want to do your part to make this as peaceful and easy a transition into whatever age we're going into as possible. I do love you. I love people a whole lot. But we have to remember that not everybody is like everybody else. We don't all have the same hearts. I saw a post from JP yesterday, and I actually had to comment on it. I could not resist. Jordan Peterson. He was going on and on about how people don't have ties to organizations, then how they are weak and they don't meet obligations and they don't commit and all this stuff, right? I was once attached to all those things, right? And because I decided to go my own way, because I decided to stand for truth, that was all taken from me. JP should know this. The same thing is happening to him. He's being ostracized by his peers. The problem there is he's being accepted in great abundance by intelligent atheists and intelligent people who are seeking God and scientific people. And so he doesn't understand what it means to be totally abandoned for the sake of truth. People like me do. He needs to hush his mouth and stop ridiculing people who are solo right now and on their own. Some people, is it our fault? Yes, to some degree, absolutely. But in another way, I don't think it mattered what choices I made throughout my life. I would have ended up in this same place because it's where I was ended up to end, where I was meant to end up. And I think the same thing for all of you. You have a purpose. You have meaning. You are here with a purpose because God the Maker loves you. And this is a love story. And it's about getting us back to the point again, like Adam, before he fell, he could walk with God in the Garden of Eden every single evening. That's what it's about. It's about a love story, a family, and companionship, and equality in its way. But it's a love story. The whole thing. It's all about love. If you don't do things from love, they will not last. If you don't do things from love, they are not true. If you don't speak from a point of love and deliver messages in love, then they are not true. Truth hurts people sometimes, yes. That's not you doing it, though. We have to stop ridiculing people for being different than us. We are not children on a playground anymore. It is high time we matured. We need to move on from just merely cleaning our room and standing for something that somebody else already decided for us, and get out of our comfort zones and stand for truth. And if you don't know what is true, then you better get to seeking it really fast, because nothing else is going to be able to be held onto at this time. Much like a boat where everything's bolted down because of the risks of waves, you better hope that everything you love is bolted down at this time. You're not going to be able to hold on to it all. People like Jordan Peterson need to really stop judging those of us who've been isolated and secluded. This isn't how I wanted my life to end up. I had all those connections, and guess what? They were all fake, phony, and superficial. And the connections I wanted to have that I wanted to make deeper were kept from me. Everybody needs to be accountable here, not just the person receiving abuse because they agreed to it, but the people abusing. It's very easy to talk from your castle in the sky with your silky linen sheets and your designer custom-made suits and your high-quality steak that you eat for your carnivorous diet there, JP. But anyways, we have to stop degrading people just because they might be alone at this time. That's not what Christ would do. Okay? And I know people might be at this channel and you might say, well, I'm not here for Christ or that talk. I'm not going to apologize for it. It's high time people knew that Christ was the Messiah, and that you are loved, and that you are special, and that you have a purpose, and that you are here for this time, for that purpose, because you are special, because you are loved. So let's get it, right? We got to quit. We got to quit being put down. We got to quit being repressed. Don't allow it. Peaceful resistance. Stand in truth, light, and love, and you won't be torn down. Be that lighthouse that your family and loved ones and friends will need you to be in this time, because they will be scared. They will be in a state of fear, and many people will perish because of that fear. Right now, we've been on pause for a little while. We should be glad of that, and we should be doing something with that time. When that pause ends, I hope and pray that you have done the best you could do to clean up your own house and stop pointing at everybody else's. Keep your eyes on the skies, guys. Something's coming. I love you all. Stay blessed.